I know that the things I've been posting have been maybe a little too real for some people. You know, when Spirit kind of shoved me into doing my YouTube channel, they made it very clear that I would need to be extremely vulnerable. And so that's what I have gotten used to doing, although being on camera was not at all comfortable for me then. I was heavier, I had missing teeth, I just really was not thrilled to be asked to do this, but I saw that there would be value to it because lots of people can tell you what they read in books. There's a lot of blah, blah, blah about this and that. And if you are someone that is not really into healing, but just about learning, that's fantastic. But when you are devoted to finally doing some major healing, it helps to hear from someone that gives you the real scoop and has survived it. See, that's the thing. People make healing sound like it's so damn scary, people don't want to do it. And it's not comfortable by any means. We have to face things that we haven't wanted to face for a long time. So this is what I have been told is part of my work. This is something that I do pretty regularly, but I'm well aware it makes people uncomfortable because I'm pretty raw. Definitely, I've been pretty raw in the last few days. Today, I want to talk to you about those old stories that we hang on to and we tell all the time, if not to other people, to ourselves, and how that connects with our fear. And I'm going to admit I'm still pretty raw about this one because I suffered a major loss. If you watched the video about the soul that I had a soul contract with to force me to finally release, then you know what I'm talking about. If not, go back and find it. A couple weeks ago, Spirit allowed me to come into some extra money, and I got a little bird, a baby bird, from someone that was advertising on Craigslist. Now, I wasn't aware until today that it's actually illegal to sell pets on Craigslist. It's just where everyone goes. My little bird was very sleepy a few days ago, and I have been absolutely anal about researching, making sure I'm doing the right foods in the shop, not exposing this little guy to things that would be harmful to him. And when I read about getting all these new feathers, which were obvious on him, it said it takes a lot of energy for birds to grow new feathers. This is one of the few times they may sleep all day. And so I wasn't concerned. Well, I was concerned, or I wouldn't have looked it up, but I mean, I wasn't majorly concerned until just a few days ago. And so I checked with a parrot expert. She had me send some pictures, and she thought that everything looked fine and that I didn't need to panic yet. And you guys, since my brain surgeries, I don't have my old stress hormone, so I do tend to panic pretty easy, and I'm aware that I overreact. The next day, I had checked on him a couple times, and he was sleeping each time. And in the middle of the day, I walked in, and he was on the bottom of the cage. And I thought he was dead. That's when the blood-curdling scream I referred to in the other video happened. I lost it, and I was telling my daughter, he's dead, he's dead. She went in and checked on him after she kind of composed herself, because she said she'd never heard anything like that scream except in the movies. And she said, Mom, he's breathing, we need to get him to a vet. So I picked his little body up, and we got him to the vet and had to leave him there. And they said, you'll be hearing from us. It's not looking great, but you'll be hearing from us. Well, I didn't hear from them before they closed. And I was hoping that meant no news is good news. But I finally called in the afternoon and I said, I don't want to pester you. I know you would have called me if he passed, but I'm going insane. And she said, just a minute, let me put you on hold. It turns out that he had passed away about an hour and a half after we brought him in, but they had gotten my phone number wrong and my email wrong. The vet asked me if I wanted to do a necropsy, is how she said it. I always thought it was a necropsy. You know, it's like an autopsy for pets or animals. And I was scared to death about doing that because the old story, from having been gaslighted from a very, very early age and on through life, was that I always do something wrong, that it's always my fault, that I didn't understand, that I got something wrong. And I was so scared that I had done something to murder my little bird, that I really had to think about whether I wanted to do the necropsy or not. It was not about money. It was totally about fear and having to face it. If it ended up that I had misunderstood something, if I had missed something, if I had caused his death. And you guys, I fell in love with this little bird like 3 days in. I loved this little bird. So I have been waiting for the last couple days for the results. And in the meantime, I have been able to communicate with Bixby on the other side. And he has been telling me, you didn't harm me. My spiritual team told me, you didn't harm him. You didn't do anything wrong. But I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it because that's my old story. Everything is always my fault. Everything is because I got it wrong. You know, that's what gaslighting intends to do to a person, to make them doubt their own judgment, to make them doubt themselves, to always take the blame because, by golly, that narcissist isn't going to take it. So as I have been waiting, even though my spiritual team and my little bird himself from the other side have been telling me I did nothing wrong, I have been certain I must have murdered him, and I have been dreading the results. I put myself through absolute hell, tormenting myself that I had killed my little bird. This is why we have to heal this stuff. You may think it's no big deal, it's how you've always been. But the fear that we don't want to face when we go into healing or when something like this happens literally puts us through more torture than if we actually faced it. As it turns out, this bird came to me with a massive infection, but it was a slow internal bleed that I never could have seen. I never would have noticed. I just want you to know, yes, it's scary to think of facing this stuff, but that old story doesn't have to stay the same. We get to rewrite our story. And so now I could say, no, I'm not exposing myself to people that gaslight me anymore. I have an excellent connection with Spirit. I can believe the information I get. I can rewrite my story, and so can you. And it'll save us a hell of a lot of self-torture. So don't be afraid to take it on. I've been through a shitload of healing in the last several years. I understand how intimidating it could be, but I also understand how rewarding it is when the light bulb goes on and we figure out, wow, I didn't let that get to me like I would have before. I actually have healed this. I'm coming from a healthier place. I promise it is worth it.